Welcome. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Emijah Smith. Feel free to call me Emijah. And I'm here welcoming you all into our King County Equity Now Community Conference and Community Conversation. We're here just to share around the history, um, our phase 2 of our work, our community connections, how we move as a collective, and really centering this around Black organizing, self-determined and liberated Black great minds and Black great organizing. Okay, so welcome. So King County Equity Now has been birthed out of decades of Black organizing in the Seattle community, um, collectively bringing together our energy across the state, but again, centering it in Seattle's historic Central District. King County Equity Now came to be starting out as a movement, in terms of its name, a movement in the wake of the George Floyd and all the police brutality that was happening this past summer. And we moved it into an organization. So despite all of the city bureaucracies and all of the anti-blackness and all of the distractions and all of the things that have barred Black community from reaching its being at its best in our greatness, I'm here to just to showcase one aspect of many Black-led organizations that are doing great work. So King County Equity Now, again, despite city bureaucracy, we were able to do great things. We were able to influence the city's budget. We were able to acquire land acquisitions. We were able to mobilize hundreds of great volunteers. We were able to bring about funders and private donors to really support the great work that we're doing today. I just want to honor all of that. And I truly want to honor our elders and those who are the winds behind our back, to the shoulders that we stand on today, and just welcome you into this conversation. This it will be a conversation, but what you'll be seeing for the most part is dialogue amongst the community members here on our panel today. And each panel member will introduce themselves. Questions and comments that may be had, well, some of them maybe we might be able to address today, and others will have to follow up. But in the meantime, I'm just excited that you're here with me. I'm just excited to be part of King County Equity Now, myself. And with that said, I would love to pass it on to Miss Triana Holiday. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. As Emijah said, I echo her sentiments wholeheartedly. And I am the media director for King County Equity Now. And many of you know me from my work on Converge Media or my work with Africatown Community Land Trust, which never stops, because when you are born and bred of the community, you realize that it takes all of us to make our community initiative successful. And I'm happy to, again, as Emijah said, we are moving from our initial volunteer organization, our volunteer initiative with hundreds of volunteers, many of them stepping up to the plate to lead in different areas. It was required of us to strap on our bootstraps and get the work done. So thank you to so many who have poured so many hours of sweat equity, so many hours of their brilliance and intelligence to get us to where we are today. And now we are formed as a nonprofit, and it is important that we started to solidify our organizational structure and bring everything together, allowing the dust to settle. So over the next couple of months, we're excited to make sure that we have our staff intact, to make sure that we also have things like this community research panel intact. Because as we move from a volunteer initiative to a full-fledged organization, we realize that this next phase of research projects needs more community eyes. We need to be accountable to our community. That is what birthed us. And so for me, it's important that we have a real way of doing that by gathering folks from the community that have their ties and their roots deeply connected to community, many different initiatives and many different perspectives that will lend their brilliance into the next phase of research projects. So we're really excited today to introduce you guys to one of our community panel members who is so rooted in community in ways that go beyond so many years. years of experience and really the passion for community. Because as Imijah said, this work is led by a deep rooted history of us fighting for liberation for Black folks in a multitude of ways. That is what constitutes our ecosystem. When we talk about the amazing nonprofit organizations that have signed on board to support King County Equity Now, we're talking about that long, rich history. And with that, I'm really excited to introduce Miss Nana Kabibi of New Black Arts West Theater to talk about her role on the community research panel and how important it is that she and others be able to lend their voice to something that we know is so important to our community with regard to many, many voices being a part of this research process. And now, Ms. Nana Kabibi.
Thank you, Trey. Thank you so much. As Trey said, my name is Nana Kibibi. Kibibi Monet. I'm the executive director of New Black Arts West Theater. It's the oldest African American theater company in the Pacific Northwest. I am so honored to have been invited to be a part of this panel, a part of this movement. I believe that the importance of King County Equity Now is it holds us accountable, and it holds the city accountable for our success, collective success. How important the community-led progress is we finally get the opportunity to map out our own destiny. We can, we've got the support that we've needed to be on equal footing with other people of our community. Like I said, I'm so honored to be a part of this whole movement that the youth have invited me to be a part of. I was born and raised in the Ghetto Terrace, so I know what it is to be young. I'm still young, as a matter of fact. Inside me, I tell the younger people all the time, you're looking at you because I'm looking at me when I'm looking at you. My heart has always been for my community and for the people and for the empowerment and betterment of my people. So I'm honored to be a part of this movement. I know it's going to be an exciting journey. I'm just happy to be part of this. And it is an important movement for us to all be a part of. So I think that's about all I have to say right now. Like I said, I'm a newbie. If I didn't say it, I'm a newbie to the community in this aspect with this organization. But please get behind King County Equity Now. It's about us. It's about, building and continuing to build and continuing to carry on the legacy and the history that we have always had.
Okay. Thank you, Nana.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. Imijah, do you want to introduce our next speakers?
Yes, I would love to. I would love to invite the Honorable Don Mason to share with us whatever you would like that you believe that is pouring into our community and our Black community. Just your words of wisdom. Thank you.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Thank you, Imijah, for the introduction. Yes, my name is Dawn Mason. How was that spelled? Okay, there was little signals on here. Okay, let me start again. My name is Dawn Mason, and it's just an honor to be here. I have done a lot of work in the community. Obviously, I've been an elected official. I've been a voice. Oh, I've been in the background education. But when I was invited on the board of King County Equity Now, part of that I had sworn off all boards. I'd be on advisories, no boards for years. But I was so honored to do this because this is something new. It's a forward looking. Our society has just crashed. That final episode at the Capitol of the United States was no screenwriter could have done it. I mean, that was like, wow, look at this finality of something that it's over. So now as we go forward, we're looking at a new normal. Whites have told us and showed us through their vote and their actions of not being able to keep going a democracy that was built on stolen land and stolen people for 400 years. And then they just gave it up just anything to keep from having to be integrated. So when we think of King County equity now, we aren't thinking about equity with those who have run this country, mainly the global minority. What we're thinking about is equity with our greatest self and our greatest, highest being, equity with excellence, equity with our global partners in our African countries who were once colonized. So, what I like about King County equity now and where we're going with this is that we aren't going to be decolonized. I know that term is used. We've never been colonized because we never were. So, we know that we are a creative people because we're in the image of the divine creator. And so, we're going to create from a nothingness, a darkness, a nothingness, something. So, we've never been colonized. So, we're self directed. We're going to come up with thank you, darling. Just put it down. Just trying to get my attention. So now the other thing, the reality. No, I want you to put them down. Is that I homeschool a 7-year-old, and part of his learning is me being at these meetings. So and he's trying to bring me a snack. Isn't he sweet? So anyway, we are being pro-Black. So I know there's a lot of BIPOC. We aren't using the language of the enslaver to eliminate us. By saying BIPOC, it means they never have to say African American. They never have to identify that we have gone through historic, institutional, and systemic racism. Immigrant populations have to go through systemic racism, and it's very, very hard. But they get around it because their culture hasn't been taken. Their language hasn't been taken. But the former slaves and the indigenous people, our culture and language was stolen, and it has existed over 400-500 years. So there is a difference, and we can move sometimes aligned, but when we have to step out, that's when we say it has to be pro-Black, and we have to help other people understand this. Dr. Martin Luther King said that immigrants can get around the systemic racism, but that African Americans have been damaged, and over the years of being enslaved and the years of oppression, and as you see continue now, we have the killing of we've always been lynched and killed and shot. So that's what King County equity now will allow us to come together at a higher level, at a level of equity with our higher best selves in the world, not equity with white people. And also, we aren't decolonizing because we were never colonized, but because we're coming out of the darkness of the ruination of a democracy. So I'm going to close with this. Kamala Harris, in her election speech to the United States, picked up by the world, gave a lot of credit to women, and all women, Asian women, Black women, white women, all kind of women. And then she came back to her sisters and said, but, she said the word but, that's a transitional phrase. But Black women are too often under-regarded. But it is proved, she said, that Black women are the backbone of democracy. So we know that. They have said that our children are at the bottom of an achievement gap. They are not. The globe was turned upside down to make it look like Africa is at bottom. So if you turn the whole globe up right, which we will start doing, then the gap turned up. And actually, it's whites that are at the bottom of the achievement gap. They showed that they don't have a lot of good sense. They 56% of the women who raise all of the children, all the white children, 56% of them voted to kill democracy. But 96% of Black women voted to save democracy. And that we have Stacey Abrams, who did her incredible work that is being scalable and is being modeled, that we are voting democracy back. She turned over the state of Georgia and turned it over to democracy and patriotism. We are the patriots. They are not the patriots. They stormed their own capital, our capital that we built. With that, I'm going to end. So King County equity now does represent a new normal. We are going new, and we are a collaboration of clear thinking African Americans, that we do work with other groups, and we'll be where there is commonality, we will work with them. But we are self-determined. We are pro-Black, And that's the best place to be right now in America is pro-Black, because we're the only ones who continue to save America. We built it, we save it. We build it. This time, everyone has to give us a chance. We're going to make mistakes. You'll see people write about us where you don't blink. If for 400 years whites have had a chance to bring in the mess they have and destroy our country, give us a chance to make a few mistakes. We aren't going to do this overnight. And I'm not going to allow anyone to demand we fix what took all these years to break, that we fix it overnight. We will be doing assessments. We'll see what needs to be corrected. We will see what needs to be applied to have the corrections. But we will promise that when we do make mistakes, we'll do full evaluations, and we will be excellent in everything we do. Every employee will be excellent. Every contractor will be excellent. And we will model that, and because we must be excellent for our children. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Miss Dawn. You just bring joy to my heart. I love the power, and I love how you pour into us. I really do. I thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I would love to transition and bring in, I recently met this gentleman, but the power and the energy that he brings forth is evident. Mr. Imani Dinish, if you just want to speak to some of the work or your community connections and what you see around moving in relationships around King County Equity Now, I would love for you to share.
Yes, thank you guys. Thank you. Mr. Imani Dinish here, Seattle native, Central District native, and thank you all who are attending. King County Equity Now and working with the research team in phase one has afforded me the opportunity to delve deeper into community connections and link with family friends and family friends of my elders. And, you know, my mobile devices contacts have increased by 25%, just networking and working on solutions for the already well-documented problems that have faced our community, our brothers and sisters, and the different demographics of this Blackness. So I'm eagerly anticipating the newly formed structure, fully galvanized, of King County Equity Now, working with and for and together and advocating to advance thousands of people, you know, and generations of us. As Don Mason spoke, we can, you know, empathetically and equitably socially engineer a thriving Central District for generations to come with the work that we're going to come together with. And we have to be great. And that's what greatness is, really. Greatness isn't being perfect. Greatness is being what you are when you need to be it. To me, that's what greatness means to me. It's doing what you do when you have to have it at that time. So it's just been a great blessing. I'm thankful to Trayana Holiday for introducing me to King County Equity Now. I was walking down the street on for the teach-in at Juneteenth, and I said, "You guys are moving boxes," and she explained to me what King County Equity Now is, and that's what I'm all about, is collaboration and teamwork and everyone staying in their lane and playing their position and checking in with each other. So this accountability that's going to come, and look forward to empowering in my research and my proposals that I've written to help keep a thriving community intact and build upon. I'm looking forward to all the help I can get that's King County Equity Now, the network, is going to bring to bear, and the force love they have with it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, May.
Yeah, that's me.
Yes, yes, it is, my love. So glad to see you.
Thank you. Glad to be seen. Glad to be seen.
Yeah, this is a beautiful thing. I see we have another speaker here. And I would love to, again, you introduce yourself more formally. A mother and an advocate in our community, education advocate and community advocate. I would like to introduce Katoya Palmer.
Hello, everyone. I'm Katoya Palmer by way of Toy Box Consulting, and have served this research team for approximately 6 months in phase one, and looking forward to, as Imani gracefully said, what it looks like to enter into what was a volunteer-led process and is now a process led by a full-fledged organization. Excited as well to continue to see the ecosystem come together and build community with each other, in addition to find data-driven solutions to how we serve our community. and how we build generationally in the Central District, which I hope will also transfer to how we build in Seattle and King County. And that's it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for contributions. I want to thank everyone for their contributions. And I want to just bring it back briefly, just to share a little bit more of who I am. I'm actually a very humble person. I don't tend to like to talk about myself too much, but I am Elijah Smith, again, part of the leadership team as a chief of staff at this moment. But the community probably knows me a little bit better as a community queen. That's how I describe myself. And so as others who are my other sister community queens, what we do, we are keepers of the community. You're going to see, I've been at many policy tables and really advocate in different arenas. And I think that's just what we do naturally. I think as mothers and as Black women and as community advocates. So I just wanted to put that out there that that's the work that I've done. And I've been part of the organizing for some years now. And so my participation in my relationship with King County Equity Now was one that was already established prior to coming in to support this more formal organization. And so I'm here to really see it blossom. I'm invested and committed because I know the work, the wind behind the back, the shoulders we stand on. I understand that this is bigger than me, that this is also bigger than the organization. This is about Black, unapologetically Black liberation and Black self-determination. And I understand that when you stand and you speak in that way, just along with this collective and the collective of our community, when we stand with our heads up and strong and we speak as we do, and we speak for our community, the attack is going to come, whether it's internal or whether it's external. But nevertheless, we're going to walk through it. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to continue to walk through it, because not only are the elders pouring into me and helping me strengthen and be stronger in this walk forward, it is my job to pour into those behind me and model for them how we do this with excellence. So going back to Ms. Dawn, how we do this with excellence, how we bring up and model the clear thinking Black folks in the Black box. So anyways, that's what I wanted to share. And I would like to turn it over to Ms. Trayana.
Thank you, Imajah. So let's see here. Questions on Facebook on inclusivity. Thank you, Mr. Dampier, for your question on Facebook. I think this is exactly why the community panel is so important. As you can see from our landing page, if you go to kingcountyequitynow.com/accountability, you will be able to see that there are some questions that, a way that you can fill in questions, but you'll also be able to see some of the spotlights from our community panel. Okay, thank you so much. I'm getting the notes so that we can make sure we answer the questions that were coming through. But really, this is about you guys being able to hear from a wide range of us who really make up what King County Equity Now is all about. Jesse, are you able to spotlight me? Sorry, I don't see myself spotlighted. I just want to make sure people can see me. Thank you. I think that it's really important. The key thing to note here for all of you that are, wondering about King County Equity Now and what we're about, when we talk about Equity Now is about a sense of agency. It is ownership over our communities, ownership over resources that should be in our communities, ownership of the processes that really help to make us a strong, well-rounded organization, attacking all of the things that come our way with grace. It is about us being able to have the sense of standing on the shoulders of those who came before us. As Dr. Mims reminds me all the time, she already paved the way for us. So now it is on us to take that sense of ownership and take the sense of agency to the next level. As Imajah said, it is about being able to showcase to those who come behind us how we do this, how we learn from the mistakes of the past, how we learn from the wins and the benefits of the past, all of the brilliance that has been within our communities. As you see today, This is just a small example of those who make up what King County Equity Now is about. This is a portion that you will get. Our community panel is growing because we realized that this next phase of research was so important to our community that it needed to have a wide range of voices pouring in to the projects that are really needed. We need to make sure that any areas where maybe they were underrepresented, that they get that representation so that our final product is a robust, well-rounded report that encapsulates the majority of our community voices, not just sectors of it. And we are thankful again to so many who you guys have seen step up, had to take the leadership positions as we organized ourselves into this organization that we are today. And as folks have said here, we are still growing and brand new. We thank the ethos that Africatown has built, the network that Africatown and other major organizations, when I think about Wanawari, when I think about community passageways, Bill 206, there are so many amazing organizations that represent the brilliance of our community and the brilliance of people stepping up because they already saw a void in that sector and they said, I'm not going to wait for somebody else to do it. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to become an executive director of a nonprofit. I'm going to connect with the people in my community. I'm going to give pathways to the youth so that they can divert themselves from this system that seems to want to trap them in so hard. I'm going to create pathways for home ownership and land acquisition because as we can see, gentrification has wrecked us so heavily that it's important that we have, again, ownership in the land so that we can build our institutions on that land, so that we can build affordable home ownership opportunities and affordable rental opportunities. We want our people to thrive in place. And in order to do that, it was on us to say, you know what? We see a void. That's what the data and the research represents. It represents that void. And what we see in the ecosystem that makes up King County Equity Now is we see so many brilliant, beautifully led, Black-led organizations, other-led organizations that say, we love what you guys are doing. We've got to be connected to this because we see this as a new wave of energy that is taking on all of the greatness from the past and building upon that so that we can move all of our issues collectively into legislation, into policy, cementing ourselves as our voice grows louder with more and more folks coming into the collective. That's what it's about. It's about the unifying power of so many voices. We saw it during the CHOP era and the protest era. Even for our events, it was important that we connect directly to community members and those allies who said, look, we want to be a part of this because we're tired of working in our corporate jobs and not bringing our brilliance to something that is greater. We have experienced a swell of a beautiful sense of rainbow coalition because we all know in Washington State, Black folks are a small percentage of the population, yet we sound loud and proud. And we stand firm in the fact that when we talk about equity now, we are talking about ownership. That is what we're talking about, ownership. And we're so excited to be able to bring the next projects to bear in tandem and alongside all of our community members who will make up the community research panel. You guys, we are elated, as Imajah said, to take on this next set of opportunities. You know, I get excited when I talk about it because look at this beautiful panel that we had today. I want to thank everybody who was a part of this panel. If you guys do have questions, you guys can also reach us through our social channels and we will be responding because we know that this work doesn't happen just with a few of us who are staff members at King County Equity Now. This is why we have embraced the beautiful brilliance of our board members, the beautiful brilliance of all the young organizers you guys saw out there throughout the summer. You guys saw our core members. Those are our advisory guys. They tell us, they help keep us grounded as well with younger voices that are a part of this work. Shout out to all of the King County Equity Now core members who work in the shadows, but y'all saw them during the summer taken to the podium, organizing amazing events, bringing thousands of people to our events and our marches because we knew we had to take to the streets. This is really about the embracing of all of that brilliance. And I'm so thankful to be working with King County Equity Now, and for me to be able to bring my passion for our community to bear in this organization. We thank you all for joining us today. Do anybody else have anything? Are we closing up? I want to make sure I don't cut anyone off. We've all said beautiful things today, but we just want to make sure that people understand Equity Now is about the sense of agency, and it is about our ownership. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
did a wonderful job.
Thank you. Nice.
Thank you.
I'll just, one last thing to close out. If you have any additional questions in addition to our landing pages and our Q&A on our new accountability landing site, you can also email us at research@kingcountyequitynow.com, and we will be able to respond to those at our earliest convenience in hopes of making sure that we can move the conversation along positively. Thank you.
Well, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.